Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Space 2 Awakening. Sorry there was no episode on Sunday, yesterday. I intended for there to be, and then I just had a really terrible day. And not even in like a fun way. You know, sometimes you can have a really bad day, but in a way that leaves you with a cool story afterward. Mine was really more of a head under the covers for 3 hours, trying not to think about stuff, watching different versions of the steamed ham scene on YouTube kind of day. Honestly, not a terrible way to spend your time. There's some weird stuff out there on the internet. I don't know if you knew that. But we're back. We're back today to play some things. So, we're in a good position here. I think we have a strong foundation for growth. Let's talk about actually winning the game, because we're going to have to, you know, start making some decisions that lead in the direction of victory. Like most 4X games, you have a variety of victory conditions available to you. A score victory happens if we reach the end of turn 300 and nobody has won via the other methods. This is functionally impossible. Some real weird stuff would have to happen. You'd have to be trying to get to a score victory, I think. Supremacy is just about owning all of the major factions' home systems. Not a super easy thing to do. You will very often, while attempting to do this, accidentally fulfill the requirements for a conquest victory, which is just to own a certain percentage of the star systems in the entire galaxy. Remember that for our purposes, it says here you own 5 out of the 32 required. Any system that we give over to the Academy in exchange for relics still counts as ours for the purpose of our conquest victory. I think that it's totally possible that that might be the route we take. The science victory is triggered by researching 4 of the technologies of the Endless. There are only 4 of them, so all 4 of them. You can see those are the ones out here at the corners of the tech wheel. You have to research 3 technologies in the top tier of each of the 2 adjacent quadrants to access each, which means, of course, to get to them you have to research all the way to the top of all of the parts of the tree. It would take a long, long time for us to be able to do that. And then the the second to last, the penultimate victory condition here is just make a lot of dust. I think, honestly, we might get this one. This may end up being easier for us to do than Conquest, because we have a fair amount of dust generation. We went for a really early dust system improvement, so this might turn out to be viable. And then actually, finally, we have to build the obelisk of all space-time on 4 different systems. That's unlocked over here. There it is. By researching to the top of this part of the science wheel. I believe the cost for these, you can see the cost for the first one is pretty extreme, and I think they might increase in cost as you build them. So it's just, you know, do a lot of science, then do a hell of a lot of building. Totally could be the way we go, probably won't be. So, let's get back to what we were doing. We were getting ready to fight some pirates. Honestly, I think Kochab might be a good candidate for taking it over and building a Temple of the Lost on it, and then handing it to the Academy in exchange for some relics, because we could really use some more relics. Let's talk about relics, actually, for a moment here. You can see on the Empire screen, we have these Relic Slots. We unlock access to the slots by building Temples of the Lost, and then when we put the relics in them, they just give us an increase in the base production level of a resource across all of our systems. If we do end up going for the economic victory, this one's going to end up being pretty important. I'm not sure... This is something we're going to have to test. I'm not sure if Temples of the Lost will still count toward the unlock requirements here, even after we give them over to the Academy. I would guess that they will, but we'll try it out. Hopefully we'll be able to try it out, like, pretty soon. And then if we go and check out our hero... he also has some relic slots. So right now we could drop relics in here to give additional influence to the system he's governing. Once we've done that, we could start doing it for fleet health or industry on his system, which seems pretty cool, but we'd have to put all 3 of our relics down in order to do this, and we need those badly for science. And then here, damage on the fleet. So it does get pretty powerful, but man, you'd have to have a lot of relics for this to feel like it was a good thing to do. Like, a lot of relics. If we want to win the dust victory, it's going to be pretty important for us to get trading companies going. So that's the thing we need to be thinking about. Commercial frameworks will allow us to start building up our trade companies. That's a long way off if we're planning to also pick up neural robotics and stuff, so... we need to get our science figured out, which is part of the reason that I'm eager to hand some stuff over to the, oh. Part of the reason I'm eager to hand stuff over to the Academy. Oh, we have 2 hacking slots now. Okay, gee, what do I want to hack? We could send a hacking operation over to Dill and, like, try to install a backdoor and start figuring stuff out about the Hisho there. I don't really want to antagonize them, though. It'd be really cool if we could stay friends. What if we just send a hacking operation? We have one running from Wasat. Am I allowed to have multiples running from the same node? Yeah, okay. We probably don't need to hack the pirates because I think we're gonna be dealing with the pirates soon enough. So let's just run a hack toward another one of the Academy systems. Keep trying to give ourselves free hero points. It is nice to have more heroes. In theory, you would like to have a hero governing each system and then at least 1 or 2 more for fleets. Your hacking op was discovered by a defensive program on Kochab. Oh, what is this now? The Academy's needs evolve, and I have further requests to make of you. Okay. This is a notification that there will be requests in the future, not itself a request, I guess? What is this? Oh, that's not actually, I'm seeing the planet overlay below the box there. Okay.
Yes.
So, a contribution request is open. Increase your contributions to earn a role with the Academy. They want influence at the moment, which is a shame because we are negative on influence, right? Roles priorities. There are roles associated with the Academy. You can be declared the Spear of Iziander or the Vault Keeper. What do these actually do? The Spear of Iziander may command the Academy attack Master Fleet directly. That seems okay, Free Fleet. You can drag this item to order the roles from your most to least desired. The further left, the higher its preference. Roles are attributed to players in order of contribution at the end of the current request phase. Okay, that's interesting. So this will give us access to the Academy Attack Master Fleet. This will give us all the laws of an additional part. Okay, that's interesting. So you get a broader selection of laws in case there's one you know you want really badly. The Master of Dust can make economical grants within the Academy's dust to other empires to tip diplomacy scales. That's a shame. It sounds like we can't just give ourselves a ton of dust. And the Librarian can access hidden information only available to the heroes, such as, or only available to the Academy, such as where the heroes are, data about the state of different empires. I think that the Master of Dust sounds interesting. I might do this. Honestly, I don't know that we need the attack fleet. We don't have that many things that we want to do militarily. I guess we could use the attack fleet to just explore. We could just go and get ourselves some vision with it, potentially. That might be the most valuable thing, actually. Okay, so we're very slightly negative on influence per turn, right? Because we're running that economic law that's a little bit too costly for us. Leave ourselves with 200 influence?
This is as it should be.
Okay, he's happy with that amount, apparently. We did this thing, and that's why we had so much influence to begin with. And yeah, we're very slightly negative. That's fine. Okay, our hacking operation got screwed up by the pirates because they are not friendly with us. Alright, so we're going to go into blockade mode here. So what this means is that any ship that is not friendly with us that enters Kochab will lose all of its movement points. It will have to stop there and not be able to leave until next turn. That doesn't actually destroy the base, though. So you can see here, the pirates, this pirate base has 450 defensive manpower. The way we would take it over, in the same way that we would take over a planet, is we would take the manpower on our ships and fight the manpower on their little base thing here. We might want to make some changes to how our manpower is being spent, though, before we do that. So let's manage the troops. Right now, everybody's armies, all of our manpower is in just basic infantry guys, and that's totally fine. you can take stuff over with guys, but you can see there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing going on here. Tanks do lots of bonus damage against guys. Planes do lots of bonus damage against tanks, and guys do lots of bonus damage against planes. Since everybody's all infantry, we really would love to go up to armor. Ordinarily, you have to do some research to unlock the ability to use tanks, but we have already done the research because we started with it. So I'm just gonna change our forces over to entirely tanks. This has a manpower cost, but we have lots of banked manpower. And then we're also gonna go ahead and improve the health of our tanks. And we have the titanium and hyperium necessary to increase their damage, but not the dust. I'm fine with this though. This should give us a pretty huge advantage. And those changes propagate instantly. We don't have to like wait for the troops to change over or anything. So let's go ahead and attack. This should be pretty easy. So in a ground battle, you get the choice of a couple of different tactics. They'll also pick a defensive tactic to counter you with. We have a maximum manpower drop of 450. So not all of our guys will be able to participate in the battle. If we go with the preemptive bombing, which limits your manpower deployment, but it does let us shoot a lot at them with our ship-mounted guns before we land. And I think I'm down with this. This tends to preserve your own manpower while doing a fair amount of damage to them. We could go in guerrilla style. This is definitely the safest thing for your troops, but it also means you don't get the job done quite as quickly as you would like. And I want this to be over with because I want to take Kochab from them. So let's go ahead and do it. We can watch this first one. Probably not usually watch ground assaults because there's not a ton of interesting information in them, but it'll be useful at least to see here how this plays out. So anything that gives you just flat plus damage, like the orbital bombardment, happens before the troops actually go into each other. So we did some okay damage at the start there. Then the pirates showed up and they shot at us a lot. Some of them have swords, which is not a great way to fight a tank, no matter what Warhammer 40k might have told you. And then my tanks, okay, we did some damage. Something happened. That was a very minor victory indeed. Okay, so in the end, we wiped out over half of them while suffering extremely minimal losses. And now our manpower is on the pirate station. They're fighting. If we flew the ships away, our manpower would still be down there fighting. We'll probably get it next turn, or the turn after at the very latest. Got that election coming up. The Academy's power has increased, which just means that new heroes start at a higher level. You guys are doing a thing already. Do I want to just leave them back here playing defense on the... like, on the capital, maybe? We probably do not need them to fight the pirates. I was wheeling them forward just in case, I think. But now that we know that's clear, I wonder if maybe even sending them back to Columbus, since it's obvious that they will not be needed, might be a smart move. I'm actually going to have them just sit for the turn, I think. And then over here we have this scout. I mean, I guess we could just sail over here. We did not manage to find anything by sending our probes out over this way. Yeah, you know what? Just get over here. Alright, I am reasonably comfortable with the way that things are going so far. So you can see here, this is the invasion indicator, the indicator that a ground battle is occurring. Let's just go ahead and pick tactics. At this point, we have a little enough manpower remaining that we get to put our whole army into the battle, even with the preemptive bombing. So we're definitely going to keep doing that. Yeah, okay, we got there. Loot seized, 30 Hyperium and 900 dust. This is a fine time to find 900 dust. Okay, the increase to political ideology and the chance of negative consequences has ended. And we've created a gutted pirate lair. By the time the armed base fell out of orbit, the conflict resulted in 228 casualties. And now if we had a scout over here, they could check out... Where was it? Kochab 1? Yeah. Check this out. Probably get a little bit more loot out of the wreckage of the base. Okay. What do we want to do with our armies at this point? I I guess maybe actually just sit right there. If we were to get attacked from this side of our empire, like if hostile ships were to show up, they'd have to go through Kochab, right? So... Ooh, look at that. We have found Virak and discovered the Nearest, who are... Are they like squid? They're like octopus people, but they have cool stilt walkers. Hailing from a vibrant ocean world, a short time ago, the Nearest's home planet wasn't always so brimming with life. Time of rampant expansion, and so forth. There's a lot of flavor text in the game, and I like most of it. So they're temperate. If we assimilate them, we will get +5 approval per fertile planet on each of our systems. Well, let's definitely say hey. We gotta be a little bit careful here. How many searchable curiosities do they have? 3? So 1 praise would be enough to get us to 50 approval. The praise will give us 20, and then we're getting 1 per turn just because they're, you know, they like people. Yeah, and then we can bank the rest of our influence because we're gonna need it. I did not mean to zoom in that far. Alright, so we can send 2 probes right now. We're gonna have to wait a little bit for the other one. Got ourselves an antimatter deposit and an antimatter deposit. Okay. This system seems like it might be pretty high value. You guys are fine where you are. That's weird. They usually don't ask for orders when you have them in guard mode. And yeah, it looks like things are totally clear over here, so just go back to the place you came from. Alright, let's talk about purchases and stuff. We now have a little bit more dust. And we have some of the basics here. I guess the thing to focus on now is just food. We got the basic food building here. How much food are we producing normally? 2 food per population point. Yeah, so we need some help. Unfortunately, none of these buildings are great for us. We could, I suppose, build the intensive cultivation here and then level this up as soon as we can, and that would help us push it. Do we need Wasat to be super high population? In general, it's nice to have a really high population in your systems that are nearer the edge of your empire, which is not always an easy thing to do. But just for the sake of, you know, being able to build up quickly in case you need to make armies in a hurry or things like that. Interplanetary transport network will be pretty good here once we're actually on Wasat 2. I mean, we could build some public-private partnerships. I know it's not a lot of science, but it's still some. We, of course, have our defensive structures. A little bit of extra XP for ships that are built here. The Chain Gang program allows us to convert population into manpower for fighting ground battles, like you've seen. But maybe the thing to do actually is to build a petitioner. And we want to take Kochab over. It's got to be built somewhere. It may as well be here, since it looks like they don't have anything that's hugely pressing at the moment. I think that's probably worth a buyout. And then we're sitting at just barely content here, huh? Why don't we build ourselves some supermarkets? Nothing makes people happier than a supermarket, I guess. No matter what that common people song says. Do we... Actually, hold on. Do we want to take over Ying 4? We want to get over here right away? Because the extra dust from the Dust Nebula, we get the dust just by having this thing colonized. How long would it take to colonize this? I'm going to make that a higher priority. Okay, we are continuing to give birth, which is very good news for us. We just need a lot of people. Alright, who do we want to push for here? You can see the parties have little political experience bars down at the bottom. Winning an election is worth experience. Winning an election by more gets you more experience, which is why the pacifists have more than the ecologists. And as you level up your political parties, they get access to more complicated and powerful laws. You can see if we click here. Like right now, we just have access to these two. But if we get them up to entrenched, we'll be able to increase our luxury resource generation and dust from our luxuries. And if we get up here, it's just like, hey, do you love resources? And we do. So I'm going to throw my support behind the behind the pacifists. Based on our survey, it looks like we're going to end up ecologist pacifist, and I would love to make sure the religious guys don't manage to sneak in. Try to keep all of the religious nuts out of the government as much as possible. It turns out that can, if you don't do a good job of that, it can have some serious consequences. Okay, that went pretty well. So we've unlocked cool copies, hey, tons of food, and a reduction in the luxury cost for boosting your populations. But unfortunately, 2 influence per population point in the Empire is a cost that we cannot currently pay. We desperately need more influence generation. Sudden rise in galactic inflation has led to a market-wide price increase that's not terribly relevant to us. The remnants you once welcomed as refugees are now thriving members of your Empire. Android beings who were once experts in assassination. They come forward, claiming to understand many of the inner workings of the exotic military modules you have recently researched. Is that a thing we did? Will you accept their aid in the implementation and installation of your latest military technology? They insist they wish to help your Empire out of gratitude, but distrustful military technologists would prefer they keep away from such dangerous toys. So if we accept their help, it lowers our refill rate on fleets. So like, after you have a fleet's manpower go down and fight a ground battle, the survivors return to the fleet, and then you have to go back home to your systems to refill the rest of the space that was created by all the people dying. So this will slow that process. It will also reduce the retrofit cost of our ships and give us more ecologist political ideology. And if we refuse the opposite and we get militarist, yeah, I definitely want to go this way. At this point, ecologist political ideology is very good for us. Hey, that's a pirate ship. We should probably kill those guys. Please, please do not attack Isyender. Alright, and this should be pretty straightforward. He is... oh, he's outfitted a little bit differently than the pirate ships we saw before, and in fact, he's entirely on energy defenses, which is a little bit of a bummer for us. And medium range is his ideal range, which also sucks, because that's... we're still going to go take trophies, because this is one of the few sources of good science income that we have. And we didn't even really take any damage. Cool. Yeah, we are all about take trophies right now. Okay, Columba is looking pretty hard to invade at the moment. So what are we going to do here? I guess it's time to build the public-private partnership. So the effect of this is going to be reduced by 50%, right? But because this is a temperate, fertile planet, that means it's still putting out 15 science, which is pretty significant. That's like almost a 10% increase in our total science output. We are still going to build science buildings. It's just they're going to have a lower priority for us because they are less effective. I think we'll hang out right here until we generate a probe. Yeah, okay. I think we're good for the turn. Can we... hold on. If we click on this... okay, yes, we can see approximately what everybody else's contribution was. That's a shame. So we put in 47, and that was 3%, which means these guys have put in somewhere in the neighborhood of 250, which we really, really cannot afford to do. So I guess we're just not going to bother contributing anymore. There's no way we're going to get top 4. That's okay. We don't need to be in control of the Academy fleet right this second. Alright, have you... yes, you have in fact generated that probe, so go ahead and explore this last thing for them. That is an adamantium deposit. This is an incredibly valuable planet. It also has propitious seasons. Yeah, wow. Those base outputs are really solid. This is just a great world. We need this system. Fortunately, we are trending toward 50. Once we get to 50, we'll try to take it over the old-fashioned way here. Sorry, the second oldest fashioned way. Obviously, the old-fashioned way is kill them all. Oh, hello, Mavros. So we've already met the Sophons. You may notice these guys look really similar. They're the same race. They're just like a splinter faction that broke off. So they are pragmatists that will tend to provide us with science. as relation rewards, which is something we care about. And their faction trait is actually really cool. Let's... How many things do they have to explore? Just one? Alright, we'll praise them twice. Not too expensive. And then, once we search that one thing... I'm really hoping that we're going to find there aren't any other players out here in the middle of... I guess we can check. Does Tellus is not owned by a player. I bet there are no players on this constellation, which means it's entirely possible the minor factions have never met anybody else, and so they won't know how intensely disappointing we are as people. He's gonna outrun the probe. Alright, what do we want to do here in the capital? Well, Xenotourism agencies seem pretty solid. 2 of our 3 planets here have luxury. Have a luxury of some kind. We are at 82%, not quite overjoyed. We should probably move the population around here a little bit. I like getting stuff built, but I also like being ecstatic. Unfortunately, I don't believe there's a way to set where new population is born. They'll just go on to whatever planet. So we don't really need the supermarket as long as our population is apportioned sensibly. I think let's grab Xenotourism, and then it might be time, since we know we'll level up our home system pretty aggressively, might be time to start considering some of these unique buildings that are better when your system is more developed. Like intensive cultivation. I know that we already have a lot of population here, but we also have a spaceport, so we could be generating tons of pop here and then sending them elsewhere. Well, we should probably throw the public-private partnerships in there as well. Okay, we have lots of important stuff getting built. How are we on buyout? No, never mind. Not buyoutable. Although we can do this. We have enough trees again. Which system do we want to upgrade next? We go to this view. I guess it doesn't matter too much. I suppose a system that is approaching its population threshold might be a good place to do it. Oh no, this is already level 2. Just that we have somewhere to put people if we do hit the cap. Yeah, okay, Zorak's a fine place for it, actually. And every one of those is another 60 dust per turn. Is this a pirate ship? It is a pirate ship. What are you guys doing over here? Alright, I'm going to send these 3 ships home. Those 2 ships can hold Kochab until the colonizer arrives. And, yeah. Okay. We do definitely need to get our science up. It is in a... It used to be that I was pretty pleased with our research rate. And, I mean, like, the number of turns to our researches looks bad. But it's just because we got to skip all of the cheap techs. But at this point, I think it behooves us to get moving. People are catching up to us. People are probably surpassed us already. I guess we could study this minor civilization really quickly. Maybe we just buy this out and then get to building food here? I don't... The science building is probably not worth putting up because it'll only be 5 science. So, yeah, I guess it's just food structures that are not very good now, but that eventually will be good. This one's never going to be, like, good here. I guess we'll do this. It's better over time. Oh, I thought I would have a probe this turn. Never mind, you guys are good. Columba is building stuff very effectively. It's probably about time to start sending population off. I guess we can wait until... We can wait for another birth here. I'm not sure exactly what... We'll figure out the science of which population units we want to go where in a moment. This will eventually be useful. Yeah, we'll do that. Because every time you have a birth... The type of population that is born, so Columba will be a good example. The type of population that is born will be randomly one of the types that is in that system. And also, even if a system has no units of your base population, it's always possible for your base population to be born. So, if we want to really push the number of one of our minor factions, we should try to seed each of our systems with some of that population type, and then boost them very aggressively. Speaking of boosts, where are we at on our... Man, I'm clicking every wrong button. Where are we at on our boosts? We do have enough to boost the Nakalim again. Do we want to push Nakalim hard? I mean, if we're thinking about going for a dust victory, they're a pretty good population type to get a lot of. We could also be pushing for Zvali. Zvali give you a lot of extra science, obviously, but percentage boosts to our science are not quite as good as they are for other factions because our base science value is going to be pretty low. I'm gonna keep feeding the Nakalim. More food for everybody. Oh, did one of my hacks finished? Oh, you know what? That hack got cancelled and I never assigned a new one. Partially because it doesn't matter a huge amount. Probably we're talking about pretty small amounts of overall points being earned here. But, and we may as well accelerate these. Oh, I can't run 2 accelerators. Alright, well we'll have that one on. And you guys need to come over here and colonize me a Kochab. Now remember, we plan to give Kochab over to the Academy quickly, so it doesn't really matter how good the settle is. I guess we have some things we could explore here. If we put down on this one, we can check these out and then pass the system over. Look at that. Who wants this planet in our in our empire anyway? Imagine every time a trade ship comes in, you have to scour it for any of these guys. Man, if they get out into our environment, we're all done for. It's real bad. Okay, so we're getting pretty big shipments of food from Jane because Jane is producing a ton of food. So, like, this number looks really bad, but it's only because the system is producing 7 food per turn. These food shipments will get the job done pretty quickly. Although, it will take them a little while to arrive. It's not a short trip. Yeah, we'll send that over to the Academy and see exactly what that permanent tithe looks like. I'm curious. I'm assuming it's going to be paid entirely in dust, but I'd still like to see what the magnitude of that is. What have we discovered? It is a talking world. There is a continual series of radio wave transmissions from variable sites on the planet. Though they appear to be artificial and thus have some purpose, the transmitters have yet to be identified. Oh, that's interesting. But people do love a secret code. You know, it's very exciting. Hey, what if it's part of an ARG? I want to be in the ARG. I get that. I've been to that place. So these guys should be, yep, increasing at 5 per turn. That'll get us where we're going. A brilliant inventor from the Jane system has created a wondrous piece of technology. A neural device that allows one to temporarily control the thoughts and actions of another. Unfortunately, the inventor only created one, and he apparently passed away shortly after testing it for the first time. That doesn't sound that unfortunate to me. There's a bit of a hullabaloo over what to do with the device now. I say we smash it. That seems like a terrifying thing. Also, smashing it is going to give us some good bonuses that we really like. Confiscating it and using it for military purposes is both, like, definitely evil and also not actually helpful to us right now. There we go. It's nice when the right thing to do and the profitable thing to do are the same thing. One of those situations where you don't really have to have principles. Oh, we've discovered a rejuvenation field. So, in addition to just looking like a real cool thing, the rejuvenation field increases the health regen of ships orbiting it. It also means that we are near the starting point of one of the other players. There's only one rejuvenation field in the entire galaxy, and it's where the Vaulters faction starts the game. That's probably them right there, then. So we'll send probes down these 2 lanes, and we'll explore this lane the other way with our faces. And we discovered the design for the honeycomb scope in those minor civilization remains. So each system does have a vision range. It's not a huge deal. Like, you know, you can see, like, Wasat can see out to this little circle. But the honeycomb scope is cheap to build and cheap to maintain, and it is just more information. You get to see potentially hostile ships coming a little bit earlier. It's fine. It's a fine thing to go after. We have 500 dust. That's probably not going to be enough to rush anything, really. Yeah, we'll just bank for a little while. Actually, one thing we could do with our dust is increase the amount of food coming from this planet. I guess I would not pay 500 dust for an extra 7 food per turn. Never mind. That planet's growth is going to be so completely dominated by the food shipments, we don't really have to think about that. Alright, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is the turn where Columba has a birth that sets it to nearly full population, so let's send some people off somewhere else. Who needs food? Zorak's pretty low, right? Zorak doesn't have a lot of room for population either, though. I don't know that it really helps us to move anybody over there. Ying has lots of room for population, and it's growing, but it could be growing faster, and there's only Nakalim on Ying. So, like, if we wanted to boost, say, Remnant or Yusho, it would make sense to move some of them over. I think let's send a unit of Remnant population over to Ying. Maybe 2 units of Remnant? I don't think the Yusho are very good, so I don't think we do want to spread them around. And actually, to that end, if we want to try to push Remnant, we probably want to boost them as well. So what do they like? They like... Oh no. That is a pretty high tier resource, if I remember correctly. Let's see if there's any on the market. That is Proto-Orchid. Well, we can buy a fair amount of Proto-Orchid right now. Let's buy 11 to have it. And then, yeah, boost our Remnant. So here, this is a little bit of a trick. You'll notice it says we only have 1 population. It only counts your population points that are currently on a world working. So if you have nearly enough of a resource to boost a population type, and you can't get any more, you can just send some of them in a spaceport off to a different world and then pop the booster while they're moving, and it will still have the effect, you know, when they land. Oh hey, I totally forgot we were doing this thing. The event went off perfectly. There were the usual small scuffles that accompany cross-species diplomatic debate, of course, but overall you find yourself breathing a sigh of relief 100 dust richer. And we've explored 20% of the galaxy. You have discovery and exploration, they're very similar things. We've met the Lumeris. Alright, the Lumeris have a strong economic bent, they make great trade partners, and apparently they have ships somewhere off in this direction. Well, that's very interesting to me. We also have met the Vultures.
The Confederacy seeks only knowledge and a true place to call home.
Yeah, the Vultures are from a world called Auriga. It's not such a nice place to live anymore. If you're familiar with Endless Legend, you probably have a good sense of why that is. We discovered Jade Onyx. Why did we discover Jade Onyx? Oh, there's Jade Onyx on Andromeda. Jade Onyx is a great early game resource. It's a little bit of a shame that we didn't have any of it near our starting position. Okay, this star lane is apparently quite long, but it looks like we are in the zone of control of another minor faction. That's pretty great. We're going to end up meeting a ton of people out in the middle of the galaxy, it looks like. Our population is kind of getting out of control, though. It's making this law very difficult to continue running. So what's down here? We've encountered the Nashast. They're warmongers and monstrous opponents. They're fine. I tend to like to use armor a lot, because infantry, the AI tends to keep its force pretty infantry focused. So this faction trait is not going to be amazing for us, but we should say hey. Do they have a lot of curiosities to explore? Oh, they do. Okay, we probably should not spend any more influence on them. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to check out one of these. And then I'm going to have my ship fly away, and we'll come back later. Ooh, the design for a new plating module that's actually pretty good. Fleet XP per damage absorbed is a cool trait. It's easy to forget that your units even have XP because a big deal is never made of their level or anything, but higher level means higher base stats, and it does matter. High level ships beat low level ships. It's probably not a big surprise to anybody. Okay, we completed quests. 28 technologies from the military quadrant were unlocked. We did not we did not score highly on that one. So the Behemoth Technologies have been revealed. And also we did this thing. As reports of new systems and their contents come in, other reports arrive as well. It seems that heroes are departing the Academy on individual missions, not at Isyander's request. This independence is unusual, though it is not a full rebellion. At least, not yet. Yeah, Isyander seems to be having a hard time keeping his grip. So we got the Scavenged Ram Scoop, which is a special type of engine that is pretty powerful. It seems that after centuries of study, Isyander is finally coming close to unlocking key mysteries in the history of the Lost. This close to his goal, he has become distracted and vague. He has time for little else than his lifelong obsession. Submitting to his obsession, however, has left his organization adrift and unguided. The result is that some heroes no longer feel the need to obey his orders, while others simply forget to ask his permission. I feel like maybe forget should be in quotation marks there. As the mystery of the turmoil is resolved, that of the unclaimed places becomes clearer as well. You have learned that some of the hero fraternities view the unique planets as anybody's treasure, first come, first serve. Beneath the serenity of the Great Void is a race is heating up to discover and exploit the enormous riches and power that these planets represent. Some view them as resources to be strip-mined. Others view them as historical sites to be studied. Which one are you? So there are a number of unique planets out there in the galaxy. Each faction's starting planet is a unique planet, and then there are probably maybe like half a dozen more. So colonize or create an outpost on 2 unique planets in fewer than 30 turns to get access to this hero here, or we can't even do that. You have to be a Sophon or a Vaulter to do the science-y side of this. Okay, well then. If there are riches to be had, it is best to keep them out of the hands of powerful splinter factions of the Academy. That makes sense. So we're going to have to find some more unique planets. If the Vaulters started over here, that suggests that Auriga is kind of nearby, is somewhere sort of nearby. So I am hopeful that we will be able to find it. Alright, up here in Columba... Let's see, we could build ourselves an Academy Embassy, which will reduce the number of those points that we have to build up to unlock our next hero. To unlock, all future heroes. We could build the Dinarch University, obviously a little bit better in a place that's going to have more population. I don't really want to build one of these wonder-type buildings here, given the low population cap of the system. And we don't really need food. Yeah, like, we're generating plenty of food here. With this system being on one of the edges of our empire, a honeycomb scope is actually probably a reasonable idea here. Build me a honeycomb scope, and then we'll figure out what else to do with you later. That might end up being where we build our warships for a little while, just because it's a place that has an opening to do that. We probably want to build a food building. I mean, our food output here is not bad. It could be better. Sustainable farms, the planets we're colonizing are both temperate, but there are 2 of them, and we could colonize Ying 2 as well, which would bring in even more food. And this is a really cheap building. And then, like, public-private partnerships is actually very, very good here. Yeah, this will be 50 science. I mean, obviously, and then cut in half to 25, but that's probably a good way to go. Where do we actually want people standing? Okay, I want everybody on Ying 3. I just wanted to get Ying 4 so that we have the Dust Nebula. Are we getting the benefit from... Okay, we are still getting the benefit from that. It's just that we have 34 points of upkeep going out. Okay, fair enough. Pretty happy with that. This might be a good place to spend some dust. Although, honestly, it's fairly productive. It's developing quickly. We're just gonna have to cut that ecologist law, unfortunately, pretty soon. I think we can't keep it running, and we don't really have a good way to increase our influence at the moment. All right, hopefully these guys won't mind me extracting this thing. Maybe we should talk to them.
Let us see if we can trust your words.
Oh right, I don't have any influence. I can't really make any deals. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we really got to work on our influence output. Let's see, we have 5 colonies right now. We're working on a 6th. We could build another colonizer and like take over IMAX. All 5 of the planets in this system can be colonized by us. There's all kinds of resources and stuff. Yeah, we should probably do that. So who... It's probably going to end up being either Jane or Wasat. There's a hack headed either into or maybe even just through Columba. We're tracing it. We'll figure it out. Wait, en route to... Oh, my trace is on the way to Dill, because obviously that's where it came from. Okay, well, we'll see what happens with that. I like the hacking system, but it was added to the game after I'd already been playing for quite a while, so I sometimes forget about it. Ooh, Pulsos. I like the Pulsos quite a bit. It's our faction trait here, just extra industry for each discovered curiosity. There are actually a couple of different traits the Pulsos can have. This is not true for everybody, but any minor faction where their trait ends with like a 1 or a 2 means that they have 2 versions of it. I like their other trait a little bit better. Still, it'd be cool to make friends with these guys. Alright, I'm gonna praise them once. Just the one time. Oh no, they only have 1 curiosity. We want to get them on our side. We're gonna have to praise them again, which means, I think, it's time to cut the green fertility bill for a moment. That is a shame. We're making a fair amount of resources off of that, but I need to have positive influence for a minute here. And Moya is learning. Yeah, he's learning more every day. So plus 10% influence on his system is definitely compelling. This is interesting. Plus 1 maximum probe stock and plus 20% probe recovery rate. So if you want to keep one as just like the lord of an exploration fleet for a while, there's a good reason to do that. You can also pick up 1 extra influence per citizen on the planets in his system. So this is a 10% increase. How much influence is the home system currently producing? 8. And we have 15 people, so actually... this is way better. And also it makes our troops fight a little bit harder in defense of the home world. Not that I expect that to ever come up. Does that mean we could reenact that law? Yeah, it's only 30. So we'd actually be plus 8. That's pretty good. Make Love Not War is... Oh no, this is only 1 influence per citizen. We can't afford to run anything that is more expensive than that. I don't know why we went down to plus 11 instead of plus 8, but whatever, I'll take it. I'm fine with it. On some of your systems, an antiquated classification scheme used to categorize minor civilization citizens has the religious community up in arms. The classification system is mostly meaningless at this point, but to officially accede to the protesters' demands would be a small bureaucratic nightmare. Well, if we just ignore it, we'll lose approval on all of our systems, and we are just above an approval threshold. So if we have an approval drop here, we'll lose 15% of our dust and science output. So I think we want to change it, as much as I don't want to invite the religious element back into our government, and as much as minus 15% or minus 15 flat industry does suck. The overall resource loss here is too great. If we were in a position where a 10-point loss wouldn't have changed what quantum we're in, then I might have gone the other way on that one. So our ships are naturally regenerating over time, but whenever your orbiting a friendly system, you can just press this button to jump them back to full. Those pirates managed to get away. We haven't seen them in a while. I'm just going to set these guys to guard mode right here. We'll leave them there for the moment. If the pirates show back up, we can try to deal with them. So next turn, we'll be able to praise the Pulsos one more time. No, actually, not true. In 2 turns, we'll be able to praise the Pulsos one more time, and then we'll be able to start progressing them toward 50 points of reputation with us as well. We're doing great. We're taking this cluster over. Oh hey, remember our faction quest? I didn't. I see my people grow and thrive, my empire tremble with power and opportunity. This is a really good moment for us to get 60 influence as a quest reward. The wonders, the glories, the risks, the challenges. I am more than awake. I vibrate with hope and passion. The future may be unsure, but I would not have it any other way. It seems that the Nakalim are grumpy when awakened from hibernation. Some fear we are developing too far too fast. They would like to see more of our ancient rituals and traditions respected and remembered. It is frustrating, but I hope that with more Nakalim on more planets, they will come to share my vision. But I will not slow my drive to bring glory back to my empire. Appease the complainers with growth, you know, that thing they don't like. Show them a vision of what the Nakalim could be. Be present on at least 5 planets. Okay, we've already done that, so I assume this will auto-complete at the beginning of the next turn. And that's going to give us a relic. That's a pretty decent reward. Alright, so one more praise. And then we may as well throw a probe at them as well. Now, it's entirely possible. Okay, that was not a great probe. We just got a small amount of dust. It's entirely possible that we're going to find that some of these quests are difficult to do, or maybe functionally undoable. Getting to amiable with these minor factions is not the whole deal, right? Let's see, we'll be at 50 with you guys next turn. But we should be able to take over some of them, at least. Over here, we've been pirated. Somewhere nearby, there's a pirate base that is occasionally producing more pirates. Alright, these ships are pretty crummy, but there's 2 of them. I mean, are we functionally the same as their ship? 72, 173... No, actually, our ships are considerably worse than this ship. This might not have been a good idea. Well, let's see if we can... okay, we can take them without losing anybody. That's what I was worried about. Columba's pushing back toward that population limit, and we're starting to reach it on that other system as well. Okay, what do we want to do here? We can produce some more ships. I'm a little torn about whether I actually want to build the colonizer for IMEX, because we're fairly close to our population, or to the point where continuing to expand our empire is going to get people a little upset, and we may gain as many as 4 systems here in the middle of the galaxy. So maybe we don't want to take on another colony the old-fashioned way at this moment. So we could build military ships up here. Building more food does feel really bad. You know what? If we're thinking about making this place a shipyard, probably constructing some bonuses for the new troops makes sense. And then I guess I'm just gonna like really harden it. You can't necessarily trust the Hisho. Just make sure that they are in no position to take it from us, no matter how ornery they are feeling. Alright, so get me another relic. We have successfully hacked Zeturbia. Okay, now we understand this a little bit more. And it's a percentage increase to your current contribution, so it's more effective if you've thrown in a bunch of stuff first. Okay, that makes sense. I think we're just gonna keep working on this. I think we'd wanted an overseer? Seeker and Counselor are the 2 that have... Oh, doing different things actually gives you different points. I don't think I knew that. I mean, who knows? That might not even have been true before. Counselors are empire-wide resources and diplomacy. Overseers are very good. Counselors and overseers are both very good. Our current hero is a Seeker. We don't really need another one of those, that's for sure. I think I'm going to go Counselor, because Counselor is the one where we have the most points built up already. We grow and thrive at a pace that my people can scarcely comprehend. Some may grumble at the pressure, but our path is clear and our star will shine as it never did before. The Nakalim will retake their rightful place in the galaxy, leading it. It's a little ambitious. It is difficult sometimes to tell the difference between outright treason and simple ignorance. This is a situation that I did not expect. The population is not just grumbling, not just unhappy, they are striking and marching over questions of religious piety and propriety. I, Queen of the Nakalim, who wears the title of Nakalim Defender, have had my leaderships and my faith called into question. At this moment, I suppose, my anger matches theirs. Did they think we would rebuild an empire from the pews? Learn how to defend ourselves against new weapons by repeating rituals that date from thousands of years ago? I would have thought it was alien agitators or foreign spies, but I have spoken with the Nakalim lords and passed among the congregations. I did not realize the point to which they seek meaning or solace or something solid to cling to in a strange galaxy that they no longer understand. I lose time now, and I must put resources into petty projects that do not advance my cause nor my empire's future. Though I suppose I should be happy that it is indeed simple ignorance. So we can reaffirm them by having 5 systems at level 2 with at least a temple. That's 6 relics as a reward. Wow. Clarify our position by passing a religious law, or dissipate the non-believers by increasing our minor faction population by 20, or sorry, not by 25, but to 25, because we're already at 15 of the 25. Honestly, this is not looking that difficult to do. We might be able to pull this one off. So what are the rewards? 150 influence, 250 dust, and 30 titanium. We don't really need the titanium. This is the one where I think the reward is most relevant to us. But we'd have to either get the religious party back into power, or we'd have to become the librarian of the academy, right? Which I don't think we can do. We do want to build some temples, but I don't think we want 5 systems with temples is a lot of planets that are not really outputting the things we need them to output. Oh, that's right, temples do produce a bunch of influence, though, don't they? That said, I still think 5 systems with temples is too many. Let's take the Dissipate. We are working on our minor faction population in a bunch of different ways. Bring others into the fold. Often, the zeal of new converts is even greater than the old believers. Their ardor may calm the extremists. Or, we're just creating a big religious and social powder keg. Either way, really. There have been continued murmurs of unhappiness among the Nakalim population of your empire. Yeah, I've heard about that. A devout and dedicated people, it is important to them to spend time in their devotions, and equally important that you see to these needs. Their state-sponsored religion, Remembrance of Sopra, venerates the lost and the prophecies of their return, their inevitable return, given that the first half of the prophecy has already come true. Exactly how you deal with this is a personal decision, but there are influential and outspoken. It's probably supposed to be a they, huh? So we could just appease them by reaching 70 approval in 2 systems. I bet we're close to that, aren't we? Yeah, in fact, we would auto-complete that. And this would give us some religious affiliation. Have 2 ecologist laws active for 10 turns. Or be the top contributor of an academy request for 4 turns. I'm going to take the appeasement, even though I don't much care for the political ideology boost that we get from it, just because it gets done very quickly. Religion is so last millennium. Just keep them happy. They are the masses, and all they need is the correct opiate. Alright, getting a little real over here. Let's go have a chat with the nearest. Let's see if they have a task for us that we can do. For centuries, the nearest have gazed at the heavens and wondered what mysteries their nearest star systems held. Did these worlds hold stunning natural wonders, riches beyond their wildest dreams, and weird and wonderful alien life? Or were they simply dead worlds filled with the dusty tombs of long-gone civilizations, and dormant monsters that should never be disturbed? the question still tightly grips the nearest imagination today. In fact, one of the biggest schisms in their society is concerned with the question of what exactly resides in their own constellation. Some caution reticence, afraid of what demons they might unleash, while others agitate to learn more about their corner of the cosmos. Deadlocked, the nearest are paralyzed. Hey, but I could cast a tie-breaking vote here. So search curiosities until they feel content that the mysteries of the galaxy are not all harmful. So this is a little, there's no way to know how many curiosities we will have to explore to get this to complete, but honestly, that's not too bad for us. We're out here looking for stuff already. Oh, hello. There's an Academy fleet here, and another, actually 2 more minor faction influence bubbles. This clustering of minor factions around the center of the galaxy happens on the spiral galaxy type pretty frequently. I'm glad that we're getting to take advantage of it first. And up here on Zorak, we could specialize the planet. So evolved soils will give us a fair amount of extra food. Not that we really need much extra food. In 2 turns, we're only going to have 2 population slots left anyway. Plus dust per citizen. You know what? This planet's output is... The planet output is fine, but non-critical. This might actually be a good place to build a temple to the lost. Yeah, I think this is maybe where we'll build our first temple. The Nakalim can worship in their backwater temple in a way that's not disruptive to the rest of our society. I'm going to re-enable guard mode here in the hopes that they will stop asking me for orders every turn. And you're 3 turns? Okay, 1 turn off on that. And also I have an open hacking. I gotta remember to renew my hacks. You know, it's a pretty small benefit, but it adds up. Not allowed to end it on Cran? Oh, because I already have an operation running from Wasat to Cran. Yeah. Renew this one, sorry. That's right, that, the one on that path is taking forever. Okay, we're getting pretty close to Graviton research. We're up to 376 science per turn, so we're actually getting okay at researching. Hey look, we did it. The Nakalim population is clearly content with the new actions that have been taken. It turns out that little productive time is lost to the rituals of remembrance, and everyone is happy with the new situation. And we got ourselves a bunch of blossoms, which is cool for a couple of reasons. Okay, so... Oh yeah. Right, the other influence bubble was the Vorta. We already knew that. But who are these guys? New guys. Sisters of Mercy. Adept Healers. Plus 50% hero healing rate. That's not a great bonus. Well, we'll praise them. How many curiosities did they have to explore? 3. I only have 1 probe right now. I'm just going to go ahead and praise them one more time. Let's get their reputation bar moving pretty quickly here. We'll just hang out and search all of their curiosities, and hopefully one of these will be enough to convince the nearest that the galaxy is a safe-ish place. Listen, I'm not going to try to tell you that space is great, just that it's not necessarily going to kill you. Speaking of not necessarily going to kill you, you enter the atmosphere of this planet to a wondrous sight. A migrating swarm of giant airborne creatures, soaring idly through the air like a fleet of dirigibles. Your wonder turns to fear, however, when the creatures start attaching themselves to your ship's hulls. The banging of mandibles off sheet metal echoes through the interior. So they are overcharging our ship a little bit, but also we are losing movement points. So we're spending a lot of our engine time running away from these things. That's fine. We didn't intend to move out of the system for a little while anyway. Okay, you are done with that thing. I mean, are there any more curiosities to explore over here? I guess we could go and check out what lies beyond Andromeda. I'm kind of curious where this wormhole goes. Yeah, I'll fly over to here. We'll shoot a probe down the wormhole, and then I'll turn around and go back. It's more important to know who else is on our constellation with us. Speaking of our constellation, Okay, I am not the owner. I'm close. I guess that's a good reason to take over Emex, or IMEX, is that it would give us control of the constellation, although who knows for how long. How's this going? Okay, slowly still. There is a food ship right outside, though, and there's another one coming pretty close after. So at 7 food per turn, each of the food ships that arrives will take over 20 turns, is delivering over 20 turns worth of food. So actually, there's enough food in the air already to finish colonizing. I am very excited about how this thing in the middle of the galaxy is going to go. And if we control the middle of the galaxy, that gives us a clean way to make trade routes with just about anybody, also potentially a ton of systems to work with. It's a very exciting time. So you guys have encountered that Lumeris ship. Oh yeah, that's a thing we could do. We could build another scout, since we know approximately the direction the Lumeris came in from. We could have our own scout send a probe out that way. Let's have Zorak. Is that what I want you to do? We could probably stop production of this stuff and move this ship up. I don't know that I want to spend dust on that necessarily. Is there more important stuff for us to build elsewhere? Xenotourism Agency would be pretty good here after we finish this. Also, planet specializations. In this case, I think Evolved Soils is totally right. And you get extra food for the world being fertile, so Ying won't get that. Maybe Ying should just be like a spin project planet? So the thing is, we have a lot of food, a lot of space for food here. And in fact, I'm even going to bump these up over the agencies. I guess we don't actually benefit from this one yet, but we will. Yeah, we'll rush that one. And I guess this can wait, then, because we don't even have any people on that planet at the moment. They will expand out in that direction, but it's not going to be immediate. Okay. So we don't have very long to accomplish this quest, and I'm thinking we might not get it done. We discovered Uchi. Somehow. Why did this become visible to me? Okay, that event has come to an end.
You're one of our favorite fish
I'm really
in
not
this
sure.
galactic sea.
With the elections approaching, as always, you've begun to take note of the growing support for minority parties within your government. Your aides have given you conflicting reports on the causes. Some try to argue it's a matter of policy views, age gaps, and changing values, but the arrests of several high-profile legislators charged with spying for the enemy means there may be a bigger picture at stake. A group of mercenaries approaches you, spies who claim expertise in getting results done without getting caught. If you hire them, they claim they could root out the conspirators and tip the election in your favor. We don't usually cheat during the elections. It hasn't been, like, important enough for us to need to do it. And there's a 40% chance that you'll have a political crisis like that. That just doesn't make sense. Arrest spies is a nice easy bonus for us. I still don't have any probes. You know what? I'm gonna actually go down the wormhole, because it always only takes a single turn to travel a wormhole, no matter how far you have to go. And then down here, we'll shoot some probes out. And where are we? We're pretty close to this arm. Let's just shoot this way and see if we find anything there. And then we'll head back through the wormhole next turn. Alright, our Temple to the Lost is complete. We have ourselves a pretty big amount of influence coming out of this system now. And then, I don't know, that's okay to build. This would be fine to have. We'll probably, like, buy out some of this stuff. We discovered a planet with blue cap mold for the first time. That's exciting. And we get ourselves a free hero. This is our first free hero earned. So a Seeker, an Overseer, and a Counselor. Let's have a look at them. So, like, this guy has the same faction tree as our other guy. As a counselor, he has access to some different stuff, though. Dust up, especially on sterile worlds. Big influence boost for provided that you have trading companies established, which we hope to, someday soon. And eventually, the Love Bomb. System happiness is permanently ecstatic and also minus 20% to the upkeep cost of buildings. That's what that dust with a chunk taken out of it is supposed to mean. That guy's not bad. His starting skills are plus a science for each point of original Empire population on his planets. Yeah, not bad. And he is an ecologist. Our ecologist party currently does not have a leader. Our existing hero is the leader of our religious party. We could take on a Riftborn Overseer. Riftborn is one of the other major factions. We'll meet them eventually. The Overseer branch has some cool stuff in it, like Beam Counter, which is pretty great, or there's a bunch of industry right here, some nice early food, and then as a Riftborn, he has even more early industry, some dust, a big science boost. Like, these guys are really good governors. Another big science boost. Kind of hard to turn that down. And our pacifist party is also actually in the Senate. The party having a leader doesn't necessarily do anything, but sometimes you'll see skills like this, clerical corrections, that require the hero to be a political leader in order to get the bonus. I'm pretty sure that the party doesn't get anything from having a This guy's Nakalim? Really? Is he wearing a mask? Or maybe the Nakalim Empire... I just kind of assumed they were all one race. Maybe that's not a safe assumption. So this guy is a Seeker like our current hero. I don't think I really want him. It's definitely between the other two. I'm inclined to take the Riftborn. Panako Nakatog is great and everything, but I think Pai's combination of industry and also more industry makes him a pretty powerful leader, especially for developing worlds. And he does have a skill point already. So just a flat 15% industry, or, be honest with you, farming logistics definitely is compelling. So Ying is probably a place where we would really benefit from having him, right? Actually, I didn't look at, what were his starting skills? Oh, more industry, great, cool. So plus 10 more food per fertile planet. We do only have the one fertile planet. So right now, that would be 20 food versus 10 industry. I think I'd actually rather have the industry here, because we have a fair amount of food already. There's diminishing returns on food, especially as you approach the population cap. Let's take this. There's also inundation of dust. That'll get better. As it is right now, it's not a huge amount. Alright, welcome aboard Pi. All of the Riftborn have Greek letters for names, or at least names that contain Greek letters. Sometimes it's not their whole name. Oh, I didn't actually click the button to assign him, because we went into the system and then just looked at his skill tree. There we go. And just to make sure I didn't do anything stupid, yes, our other hero is still on Jane. Heroes end up costing a fair amount of dust per turn, but they are almost always worth it. Oh hey, I just saw the time. We should probably wrap the episode, huh? It's very easy to get drawn into one more turn syndrome here. Our hacking op was discovered by a defensive program on Cran. Okay, the good news is the traceback will probably take some time because it's several systems away, and there's also... we took kind of a circuitous route, so I'm not too worried about that. Zorak has been hacked. That's definitely... I mean, we know who did that, right? I don't think I care about that necessarily. Relations climbing with the Pulsos. We've hit 20 Nakalim. I do not remember what the bonus was for 20. That's the dust thing, right? Okay, good to have. Definitely good to have. And... we actually have enough... yeah, we could totally run another law. I mean, just food. Just tons and tons of food. Yeah, absolutely. That's very expensive. It's a very expensive law. I didn't actually look at it. Yeah, I guess we have 40 points of population. We're doing all right on pop. I think I would rather cut the green fertility bill and keep cool copies, because this is a ton of food. Yeah, maybe this is how we'll run our government for a little while. Oh, hey, we finished that tech. So let's actually get those colonizers on. This is way more important than those bunkers. Let's see. Game 2, we always could have colonized this. I don't know that it's necessarily vital that we get that immediately. Yeah, we still have lots of population space to grow into. What do we have to get to colonize the last thing in Jane? It's an ice world. It's not even a good world. We should probably bump some of this population. Here comes that food ship. So the first food ship has already arrived. Yeah, the second food ship will colonize the place. So we could send population to Kochab, although we're going to probably immediately get rid of it after we get it. Well, I guess not immediately, because we have to be able to build the temple, but that shouldn't take too long. I think I'll send some population to Wasat. So what do we want to send? What is a minor faction population that we would like to grow? Actually, the Zermasala would be... It would be nice to have more of these guys. Why not? Oh, because that's not how you do that. You have to drag them off of one of the planets. Let's send a couple units of Zermasala down there. To Wasat. And then if I wanted to push the Zermasala's breeding chance, what is their thing? Their thing is... I can't remember what that's called. It's glitter something? Dark glitter? Oh, there's plenty of dark glitter around. It's not super cheap. Let's buy 5 for the moment. We don't really have a lot of these guys, and at the moment, we only have 1 of them, so... Alright, our Nakalim booster is about to end, but that's fine, we'll get it. Okay, so we did gain access to a new science building, which is fine. Lockdown, which blocks the create backdoor outcome for hostile ops passing through this node, and removes any detected backdoors, is not amazing. We can divert our hacking operations. We can place this on a node that we targeted with an operation, and when the operation gets there, we get to retarget it, which is a thing that we might sometimes benefit from. Not anything terribly important to do right at the moment. Do you have a probe yet? You do. And here, let's do one more turn here, because I think one more turn... Hey, another... Man, there are a lot of strategic deposits in the middle of the galaxy. So I think in one more turn we're going to have the Mavros, right? Ooh, no we won't. It will take 2 more turns. Okay, that's fine. You know what, we'll just end the video here, I guess. We'll take on an awful lot of minor faction quests next episode. Hopefully, the nearest will flip over to us any moment now. We are definitely going to have to expand our colonization limit, or come up with some ways of countering the unhappiness that's going to come from passing it. That is a thing that we can do in the Empire Development quadrant of the tree. There are texts like Xenoanthropology, which will give us the Booster program, a thing that we can, which just gives us +1 system on the limit. There is also eventually, where is it? Eventually there's a thing you can build in a system that causes it not to count toward the limit anymore. I don't remember exactly where that is at. Ah yes, autonomous administration. Sorry, it doesn't make the system not count toward the limit, it's just a thing you can build in each system that increases the limit by 1. But then this also just gives you 2 more systems on the limit as soon as you finish it. There's also the Behemoth Technology. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be in a huge rush to get to this, but economic behemoths do some powerful stuff. And you have to remember that we have plus 40 influence for each Behemoth class ship that we build, so we might bend ourselves in that direction pretty soon. My thinking right now is, let's get neural robotics, get the good predictive logistics building, get the ability to mine the adamantium, and then maybe pick up commercial frameworks, or maybe even swap these two, because we do need to get our trade companies online if we want to have any hope of building up the amount of dust that we want, that we need in order to win the game. We were working on this, right? Yeah. System at level 3. So in order to get the ability to make a level 3 system, we have to research 4 technologies in this line, or in this tier here, which is maybe like those, and impactless sites would give us access to the ability to hire heroes from the marketplace, which is pretty cool. Mission flexibility will give us some additional stuff to use in our behemoths, just a lot more resources generated by the economic behemoth. Yeah, that's all very interesting, actually. And there's some good stuff over here, like chameleon spaces will allow you to just turn a system into a science factory. Maximized exploitation gives you another great industry building, and the ability to colonize lava planets, which is a thing that we might need. I don't know. It bears some consideration. For now, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you are all enjoying the series as much as I am. Come back next time, tomorrow, for sure this time, I mean it, to see whether we can take over the entire center of the galaxy without firing a shot. And we'll see you then.